In this video, we're going to be talking about this 8BitDo retro mechanical keyboard that's made to look like a Commodore 64. This might be a perfect gift for that special someone in your life. And by the end of the video, I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to turn this mechanical keyboard into a fully fledged Commodore 64. It's coming up right now on Retro Hack Shack. Well, hey everybody, my name's Aaron. Well, have you subscribed, by the way? Why don't you go ahead and click the subscribe button? My channel is getting a good amount of subscribers, but I could always use a few more. And also thanks to all my patrons and YouTube members over on my main channel who sponsor the channel and make it so that I can bring you cool videos often. And well, I don't know about often. It's been a little bit between releases for me. But yeah, I do rely on their support to actually keep the channel going. So if you want to keep the channel going, maybe become a patron or a YouTube member. I would greatly appreciate it. Let's talk about this. Now, I got this about 6 months ago or so, and it is the 8BitDo retro mechanical keyboard. And 8BitDo is actually a purveyor of fine electromechanical devices that replicate older devices like joysticks and SNES controllers and things like that, except they make them wireless and give you adapters to plug them in to all sorts of things. I have an SNES controller from them that plugs into my RetroPie, so I can do all of my emulation of old games on. It's really cool. But about, I don't know, maybe 9 months, a year ago, they started coming out with these mechanical keyboards, and they had quite a number of them, and I've seen them covered on other channels at the time. People were doing reviews. But a little bit after that, I went back and looked again, and they had this one that looked like a Commodore 64. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, and we'll see what it can do. So I've had this out of the box already. I put it back in the box for the video. I wasn't sure if I was going to do a video on it or not. I kind of wanted to, but then it was like, I don't know. But then with like the new Commodore 64 that's coming out from the new Commodore group, the new Commodore ownership, I thought, maybe this would be a fun one to do. Right now it's around the holidays, but it could be any time of year. You might want to buy this for yourself, or you might want to buy it for a friend or whatever. So just keep this in mind as you're thinking about gifts for that retro enthusiast that you may have in your life. But it's packed very well. It comes in this box that's a little bit bigger than you might think. Here's the keyboard itself. Look at the fine detail on the keyboard. Now, it doesn't have the little Petsky characters and things like that on the front of the keys, but otherwise the color of the keys is like a dark brown, kind of like it would be on a actual Commodore 64, or at least in the same color scheme. And across the top, instead of the Commodore 64 logo, we have the 8BitDo logo, but very much in the style of Commodore with the rainbow. Over here, we have power, just like the Commodore 64 had with the LED, and then some extra buttons up top that I'll get into in a minute. But overall, it does look quite a bit like a Commodore 64. It's a bit thinner, of course, than a Commodore 64, than a breadbin Commodore 64, but it's definitely meant to look like that. And I love the key switches in here. I don't know if you can hear that. Let me hold it up to the mic. I mean, the key switches are just very creamy, but clicky at the same time. Just very, very nice. Really like this. This is a reduced set keyboard, so I don't know what this would be, like an 80% or something like that. It does have all of the function keys. It has the arrow keys. It has, all your traditional keyboard, PC keyboard keys that you would come to expect. And it does not have a number pad though. But otherwise, it looks, I think, really sleek and nice. So that's that. We also get in the box a manual and a quick instruction guide, fast mapping, because you can remap the keys on this thing. It has some stickers that you can use. I'll show you where those will go in a second. In fact, let's just do it right now. Those go, I believe they're meant to go on this thing. So this is a separate button thing that plugs in the back, these two giant buttons. And obviously it's meant for playing games, but you can actually remap any of the keys to anything. And these are actually additional keys for the keyboard. So that means if you wanted to use these stickers and map one of these to a function or a button or something, and then put the oops sticker on there or the enter key or whatever, you could totally do this. And these are actually really nice clicky key switches underneath these buttons as well. And we also get a not authentic looking, but similar looking joystick. Let's see if I can pop this on here. Yeah, that just presses down like that in place. And I can hear the springs in there, or I can hear the switches. So this has 4 switches, I'm assuming, on the inside, and it also has a unique plug on it that plugs into the back. So no USB here, although this might be some sort of, I don't think this is USB at all. I think these are just extra keys, again, that you could probably map to different things. Of course, you'd probably want to map them to the up, down, left, right keys, but you could probably map these to anything. And it goes back to the middle on its own. It's nice and springy. It's kind of nice. I kind of like it. It also has a little bit of a rubbery back on it, so that when you put it on your desk, it's a little dirty. When you put it on your desk, it's not going to slide around. Pretty cool. And here it is next to an actual breadbin Commodore 64. You can see that someone actually paid attention. These particular keys are a little bit darker, not nearly as nice to type on, but they match these function keys over here. You can see the color is very similar, and the key color here is also very similar to the original keys. The tone of the plastic is also almost identical, at least to this one. Of course, yours may vary depending on how much exposure it's had to sun and other things. But yeah, this is pretty much a pristine Commodore 64. It's the one that sits on my shelf back there in the back. And I'll say I mean, it's very impressive, the accuracy here of the colors. They really took their time and did a good job. Before we get into the specs, I did want to just let you know there's a little port back here that has a RF keyboard adapter, because this thing connects 3 ways. We'll get into the features in just a second. It also has a USB connection back here for charging and connecting to, wired connection to your keyboard. And then there's these ABXY ports on the back here. And those are to plug in the joystick and those 2 big buttons I showed you earlier. Now, in terms of actual technical specs for the connectivity and what have you, let's go down and see what those are. It does have 87 keys. I think I said 80 before. It's 87 N key rollover, aluminum plate. So it's, very, very strong. Hot swappable PCB. These are my favorite switches. I was right. The Kale Box White. Those are the ones I used in my Neo Retro keyboard build. That's so cool. I love those key switches. But the keys are double shot ABS. Supports 3 different modes of connectivity. It supports Bluetooth, 2.4 gigahertz with that dongle that you can use, or just direct USB. Programmable keys, volume knob, which is pretty cool if you're on a Windows machine or something like that. And top mount style. And they really did a good job. Look at the marketing on this too, with the C64 edition, hooking this up to a legit Commodore 1701 monitor. They really went all out with this thing and did their research. You got to appreciate that from a third-party company like this. Okay, now that we've covered the specs of this thing, I bet you're wondering how you enable all those features, and that's why I kind of left these buttons off for later. These buttons at the top here switch between either off mode, which turns the keyboard off so you're not using power, but you could also hook up the keyboard directly in this mode with a USB cable, or you can switch it over to Bluetooth, and it will you can pair a device up with Bluetooth. You can see it's actually blinking, hopefully, and that means it's in pairing mode right now. Or you can switch it over to 2.4 mode, and now this is connected to the dongle that is actually in my computer over there at the moment, and that'll use 2.4 mode. So I'm going to go ahead and switch it off because I'm afraid I'm going to reprogram a key or something by mistake here. But yeah, if you need to put it back into pairing mode, there's that little Bluetooth button here that you can do that with. And then this little star button here actually allows you to redefine your key definitions. It's actually very easy to redefine the keys on this to be basically anything you want. But that's how you get access to those features I was mentioning before. And by the way, I will put an affiliate link down below. That's just a link that you can click on to give a little support to the channel. It gives me 5 cents or something if you click on that link, and especially if you buy one of these from that link. But you don't have to use that. You can just look it up on Amazon or whatever, but I would appreciate it if you support the channel. Now we want to get into something that I think is really cool, which is how can we turn this keyboard into an actual Commodore 64 really quickly and easily. Well, to do that, we're going to be using this Raspberry Pi Zero. So now you kind of see what we're doing. I've got this, oh, by the way, this USB cable is also supplied with the keyboard. I forgot to mention that. And I've got it plugged in here for reasons which will become obvious in a minute. But I've got an emulator loaded on here. It's the C64 emulator. And that runs on a Raspberry Pi. I think this is maybe like the second revision of the Raspberry Pi Zero. I've got my SD card formatted. I'll put a link to that project down in the description below, or you can just look up C64 GitHub, and that'll take you to the GitHub page with all the information on it. So basically what we're going to be doing is using this as a wired keyboard. I could probably do it with Bluetooth too. I didn't think about that. But today I'm just going to, for simplicity, I'll just be using it as a wired keyboard to interface with this Raspberry Pi, which is running the C64 emulator. And we'll connect that to a display back here and see how realistic it feels to be running on this keyboard that looks like a Commodore 64 and actually be running a Commodore 64 emulator on the screen back here. I think this is a really cool and easy setup. If you know anything about formatting SD cards, or if you've done any kind of emulation work before, this should be an easy project for someone to set up. So let's go ahead and I'm going to connect the Raspberry Pi to the screen and of course connect the keyboard up through this cable, and we'll see what it looks like. All right, so I've got the Raspberry Pi connected. Ooh, there's a little scratch here maybe or something on my monitor. Maybe that'll come off. I don't know. I just noticed that. That's not good. Yeah, but I've got everything connected. Let's just go ahead and turn it on in 3, 2, 1. I've got a light on the keyboard and light on the Raspberry Pi. This is supposed to boot up pretty quickly. Wow, look at that. It is quick. Wow, that is so cool. I mean, that is not as quick as turning on an original Commodore 64, but it's pretty close. That only took a few seconds to actually boot up, which is saying a lot for Raspberry Pi. It can really move fast when you put custom firmware on there. And yeah, this looks exactly like a Commodore 64. Let's see if we can type in a basic program. I'm at a very weird angle here. I might have to cut this, even a small program like this. Okay, and the quote is not up here at the 2. The quote is actually the quote. So if you're using this like a regular keyboard, the keys are mapped out for you, I guess, in the emulator already. Retro Hack Shack, space, colon, or no, a semicolon. I think I need to put a space in here. Can I do that? Space, quote, semicolon. There we go. And then we can do 20, go to 10, and run it. Ba-da, da, 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 da. Yeah, so you could get in here and type in all of your basic programs. But this is enough for me. This is just really cool. This is feels very nostalgic. It feels like you're using a real Commodore 64, even though my brain knows that I'm not. This is really cool. This could be good for a display somewhere if you were doing like, I don't know, some sort of an exhibit or something like that. Bringing one of these with a cheap, $10 Raspberry Pi Zero. I mean, let kids go to town on it. I mean, this is just really cool. The escape key does break, so part of this is all in the emulator. You have to look up the emulator and see what keys map to what. But so far, they kind of map to what you would think that they would. Now, I have to figure out how to load a game. Okay, I think F12 is the key that I'm looking for. These are not the keys you're looking for. Here we go. Here's all the stuff that we can do here. Here we go. Let's play Impossible Mission. Let's see if that loads up here. Oh, yep, it's doing it automatically. So it automatically loaded it. There's no direct load into memory here, I guess, in the emulator. Maybe you can turn that on. So it looks like this is going to take a while because it looks like it is emulating the real speed of a Commodore 64. So we'll do a clock wipe and come back and see if this thing loads. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Impossible Mission. Let's go ahead and see. How do we start this? I think I've got all the buttons mapped out correctly, but no, I don't. I do not. So, okay, we got to remap this. So I'm going to try to remap the keys here, but I'm not even seeing, like, the arrow keys aren't even working. So what do we need to do to get things moving here? Okay, well, I'm back. It's been a little while. In fact, it's been a couple of weeks because I meant to get this video out before Christmas so people could potentially buy this for Christmas, and then life caught up with me. And this problem was so bugging me so much, trying to figure out what was going on. Well, the resolution is, it turns out that with this C64 running on a Raspberry Pi Zero, it does not support the joystick somehow. The way that I thought this worked is that when you map the buttons in the keyboard to, in this case, the arrow keys, I thought that it would just see arrow keys like this. When I type arrow keys, I get arrow keys. Now, it's giving this, I'll explain why it's giving this funky information in just a minute, but I thought that this joystick would work exactly like that when I mapped the keys. It does work on a PC. So if you connect this to a PC, or I'm assuming like Mac or whatever, and you're running Vice emulator there or whatever, the joystick you can get to work there. But for whatever reason, in BMC64 running on the Raspberry Pi, it does not recognize those key inputs. They must be slightly different in some way. I don't know. It's not a problem with the keyboard. It's a problem with the software. So anyway, that took me a long time to nail down exactly why it was working and when it was working, when it wasn't working. So now here we are a few weeks later. But anyway, what we can do, I still like this setup because what we can do is we can still play games using the arrow keys. A lot of people did that on the Commodore 64. So let me show you what I've done in case you do want to try this setup for yourself. Basically, I go into the menu and I went into joy ports and I set port 1 and port 2 to use custom key set 1. And then I went down to configure key set 1 and I programmed the arrow keys here to be the inputs for the joystick. So up is up, and it doesn't look like there's anything. It should be more descriptive of what's going on here, but up on the joystick is equal to the up button is what's going on here. I went through and set all these, and then I set fire to space. And so that is why, if I back out of here, that we're getting these funky characters. I'm assuming this would be similar on a real Commodore 64, although I haven't tried it. If you were to somehow map if you were to hook up a joystick and then hit the joystick around while you were on the in basic here, I'm assuming it would be this kind of the same thing. But anyway, let's go ahead and load a game. I think I still have this loaded in. Let's see. No, I don't. So let's go ahead and load a game that will work with this. The other thing I found is that Impossible Mission and some of the other games aren't quite working right. They require additional setup. So I've got Kong Arcade here. This is the wonderful port of Donkey Kong for the Commodore 64. It's got some funky music at the beginning, which comes from Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo. While this is loading, let me just say that you could hook up a USB hub to this and hook up USB sound card and get audio out as well. I don't have that running because I just don't feel like going that far in this. I probably won't keep this setup going for a long time, but if I were to take this to like a show or an expo or something like that and letting kids play with this and I wanted to use this setup, I would definitely set up a USB hub, sound card, speakers, and then you would get the sound from the game. So don't expect the sound from these games. I'll come back once this is loaded because this is running in real mode, and we all know how long it takes to load a disk on the Commodore 64 on a 1541 disk drive. Okay, it's loaded up. We got a black screen, but that's because it's drawing the information. So if you're familiar with this game, or if you're familiar with Adrian Black's thing that he does, he usually uses this to test Commodore 64s. And so you can sing along in your head with the music that should be here. But if we hit the space bar, which is fire, we'll clear that screen and we'll get to the setup screen. And so joystick up is insert a coin, and then we can do left for 1, right for 2 players. We'll do 1 player, and here we go. Again, the Donkey Kong sounds would be here if I had speakers hooked up, but I do not at this particular time. But as you can see, in a minute, let's go, Donkey Kong. Bust a move, we will get, and I'm hearing the Donkey Kong sounds in my head for sure as this is loading, but there we go. You can see that, it's all working from this computer, and it just feels great, or from this keyboard, and it just feels great on this keyboard because it looks so much like a Commodore 64, and now we're actually playing the game, and wow, does this feel fantastic or what? Let's see if I can make it to the top. Oh, now's my chance. Come on, baby. I think I can do it. Oh yeah, I should be able to get this. Oh, I pressed my luck. Anyway, so there you go. There you have it. I love this little keyboard. running what looks like an actual Commodore 64 off of it. Again, you could embed this if you wanted to directly into the keyboard. If you want to see a video where I do that, let me know. And then this would become exactly like a Commodore 64 at that point with some quirks, as we saw. If you like mechanical keyboards, for example, I will leave a video right over here on this side of the screen to my Neo Retro keyboard that I'm so proud of. And it just brings back the feel and the sound of old keyboards for me. So I'll leave that video there and another one that you might like right underneath it. Until next time, thanks for watching and thanks for supporting the channel. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
End of line.